Have you ever seen a TV commercial that genuinely made you laugh out loud? Today's guest is an award-winning expert who is trusted by some of the world's biggest brands to do just that. From Manscaped to Shady, Thierry, Denis, and his team at Ockham specialize in producing ads that get audiences to lean in, laugh, and take action. Learn about what it takes to make a spot that actually makes you laugh out loud while driving business results you can feel and measure. Welcome back to the State of Streaming podcast. I'm your host, Tim Rowe, and today we're talking with Thierry Denis about how to make a TV commercial that entertains and converts. Enjoy. Thierry, we are looking forward to having a conversation today about what makes great creative. But first, can you tell us about who Ockham is? Who do you serve? What's the problem that you solve? And why is creative so important and often overlooked?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a commercial director. I'm the co-founder of Ockham. We're a boutique production company based in San Diego. Really just me and my longtime DP trying to do good work out there and work with brand to create things that, people want to watch and obviously turn into, buying their product and their services. We specialize in a bit in comedy. I would say that's a subgenre of commercials that we're really good at. We've done a bunch of work in that space for brands like Shady, Manscaped, SmartAsset, TSIA, Gen X, all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're a full service production company, and we service a bunch of different clients that may have different needs in terms of genre or come from different verticals. So we've produced video content for consumer electronics brand, fashion, finance, tech, pharma, casinos. I would say our clients are a mix of ad agencies, brand directs, the marketing director, marketing folks at a brand, or sometimes even other production companies who need a director DP duo for like a specific campaign.
Cool. So they're looking for a commercial. They want a commercial made that tells the story about their brand.
Yeah.
They could choose anyone. I'm sure that there's lots of people. I've got a buddy with a video camera. He could make me a commercial. Why do brands and agencies choose to work, not just with Ockham, but with a commercial director? What is the advantage of working with someone who specializes in directing commercials?
I mean, a commercial typically is 30 seconds, right? It's very, very, very short. And within those 30 seconds, you got to grab the attention of someone, an audience that typically don't give a shit about it. They don't care. They were watching something else.
You interrupted me.
You interrupted me, right? So it is, it's a hard proposition in the first place, right? So I think the devil's in the details in terms of the creative. I think in terms of what you put on camera, right? You have, again, very, very limited time to convey an entire world, characters, value prop for the brand, or value prop or features for a product. Lots of information, and you want obviously that audience to sit down and watch it, right? That's the goal, and remember some of it, and hopefully on the back end take action and like go buy that product, right, or that service. So I think where it's important to have commercial production company, commercial directors, people that really specialize in that, specifically when you're talking those really short form scripted content, is to have folks that really will pay attention to those fine details and put themselves in the shoes of the audience and make for ultimately creating something that resonates, right? And just to quickly go back to the comedy part. I mean, that's something that we specialize in, but that's something that I truly believe is one of the most effective genre when it comes to that, to grasping that attention from the person that you've just interrupted, right? If you can make someone smile, I'm not even saying like burst out laughing, but just smile at something, they're so much more likely to remember that spot, and in turn the product, the brand, the service, the features, whatever it is that you're promoting.
We'll look at an example. Let's look at an example from Manscaped. For folks that don't know about the Manscaped brand, can you give us like a high level, who is Manscaped? What's it like working with Manscaped? What's their kind of voice? How do they generally go about doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Manscaped is a men's product company. They started off, they're from San Diego. They're still based out of San Diego, but they've grown quite a bit since we we originally worked with them. They started out doing a shaver for men's privates. At the time, there's nothing, I mean, if you wanted to shave down there, you would just use like maybe like a head shaver or something, or like a razor. And they made a product that they advertised as being safer, right? I mean, it's obviously very, you don't want to nick any part of this.
So sensitive subject matter, and
Yes.
okay, so men's grooming, a personal hygiene product, as it were. This is going to be something we air on television, right? It's got to be family friendly while still getting the messaging across.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this one. We're going to watch the whole commercial. It's 44 seconds. So if you're not watching or you're not listening to this on YouTube, you're probably going to want to check it out. We'll make sure to link to all the commercials close by so folks can watch it. But let's watch this Manscaped spot, and then we can talk about it.
Whoa, buddy, now this is nice.
What is this, the Four Seasons? It's like the best boxes I ever hung out in.
Check it out. I don't even see thigh or junk or nothing.
It's like we're in our own special little place. Hello?
Huh? Oh, everything's so soft, too. I could definitely get used to this.
We could definitely get used to this.
The new Boxers 2.0 from Manscaped, featuring the super soft jewel pouch. Go to manscaped.com today and get your pair a pair.
There it is. Simple, fun, a great on-brand spot for Manscaped. It looked kind of simple. I don't want to take away from how brilliant simple and how hard simple really is. But tell us about how that spot came to be. Tell us about the execution. What did it take to actually make that spot?
Yeah. So we didn't write this one. We worked with the folks at Manscaped to kind of refine it on the back end, but the original idea came from them. I mean, they've been in general, like, if you don't know Manscaped's advertising, go check it out, because I mean, throughout their entire history, they've, now obviously this is for boxers. They've gone into like a lot of other men's grooming products, but they're really good. They do awesome, what I think is awesome and super funny commercials in general. So this one was kind of early, and they had a fairly limited budget for this launch of those new boxers, and they came up with this idea of like, yeah, how can we talk about balls on television, right? Because this is a broadcast spot, right? Like it aired on like on cable, without saying the name, while keeping it family friendly and whatnot, and came up with this idea of personalizing them, right? And so they came to us with that idea that had a script, but that again we helped refine to really fit into that 30-second and make it as funny as it could be. I would say the execution, it was fairly simple. It was a fairly simple shoot. It was actually part of, we did 2 commercials at the time. The other one that you can see on our website, called History of Undie, was a lot more complex when it comes to execution. This one we shot in half a day, I think, in the studio, and it was all about the talents. I would say those 2 guys, really, that's where we spent, I think, the most focus and the most energy and time in finding those guys. 2 guys that look similar, can have that kind of synergy of they're brothers or twins without actually
Stuck
finding
in here
twins
together, sure.
Yeah. And but the shoot was pretty simple. We wrapped them into this like fabric so that they would like be squished together and they couldn't move, and then
so they're actually in this thing together.
They're actually in this thing together, right? That's kind of wrapping them and keeping them tight, because otherwise, they would not match movements, and I think that was like one of those little details that make it feel more real, that sells the idea, right? Is that they needs to be kind of like in this cocoon, right? They were just standing, and we just made sure that they would move, kind of like sway together and move together, and then deliver the lines, and then we flip the image in post, right? And that gives you this idea of. But I think what sells the idea is those little tiny details of like the movement, the look of the character that wrap around them, and then it's just script, right? Just good script writing, good dialogues that lets you understand. Oh yeah, this is what it is, and I think that realization is like the funny part, right? This is where people kind of start really paying attention.
I think that's a good reminder too, right? Like it's not the data, It's not the technology. It's a simple idea with fine attention to detail, a willingness to probably break that fourth wall, kind of say the quiet part out loud a little bit, like, hey, we're just going to poke fun at this thing. That is not something that you can do with an AI prompt. That's not something that is easily duplicatable, and it takes a sense of knowing. It takes knowing when to push, knowing when to pull. Let's look at another one. Let's look at this one from Shady Rays. What I love about this one was how scrappy the team was in actually executing this, because when we watched the spot, I mean, it looks like a Hollywood production, but you've got a cool story about how it came together. Let's watch this one.
55% of Americans lose or break their sunglasses every year. At Shady Rays, we decided to do something about it. So we created the Shady Rays Replacement Department.
When someone loses or breaks their sunglasses, we make it right, fast.
Ma'am, we have a developing situation involving a zip line?
Lock in, people. This is what we're here for.
Shady Rays, eyewear that has your back.
All right, Shady Rays, sunglasses. That's a fun spot, kind of poking fun. I lost my sunglasses. I wish that I had the Shady Rays sunglass replacement.
Right? You want an agent right behind you that pops like, here.
Right. So, like, obviously an idea, a concept that we could probably all relate to. How did this one come to be?
It's the same thing. We didn't write this one. It was Shady Rays came to us, which they were referred to us by a friend of mine. And they came to us with the concept that was written by a creative director, really awesome creative director named Sean Cunningham out of Atlanta, who has his own like little shop these days. And, they came to us like, okay, this is the idea. This is the script. Let's execute this in a way that is appealing to the audience, right? And my first thought in seeing that this brief was like, yeah, it is a spy comedy Hollywood movie. Let's make it feel like that, right? And that story that you were referring to is about the control room, right? We put a lot of time and effort in making sure that control room looked the part. And if you think about it, and if you look closely, if you rewatch, you'll see that it no control room in the universe probably looks like this, right? Like there's things that just wouldn't, like the servers in the back, they wouldn't be there. You should have a room dedicated to it. There's like things in this, the maps visually don't make sense, but it all works because it appeals to anyone's reference material when it comes to like sci-fi movies or CIA movies or James Bond movies, right? And it's playing on those tropes, right? Which is something that you can do a lot with comedy, which is something I absolutely love doing with comedy. Like play on those tropes and those reference that people have, whether or not they're like avid cinema goers or really have a strong knowledge base in movies that you have, everybody has seen enough movies that they have those kind of like subconscious reference. So, there's a lot in this one and the way we shot it, the way we approach each parts of the story. And like, again, playing on those tropes, right? I mean, I describe this one these days as like, it's like Spy Kids meet James Bond, the spy comedy, right? And that was the original idea. But yeah, that story with the control room. So we had a fairly limited budget for this. They're not a giant brand. I think they make great sunglasses, but they're not a giant brand. So didn't have a ton of money, but they have a cool concept. And our one thing, at Ockham, our philosophy has always been like, especially when we're brought great ideas, let's push this and try to make something that looks really cool. Because one, it's fun. And two, it works for a portfolio piece later. And then we can talk about it on a podcast, right? So we try always to kind of like put as much money possible or as much thoughts in what's going to go on screen. And so that control room was a regular conference room in a modern downtown San Diego building that you could rent for a fee, and that we dressed, right? There was an empty space, but it had those big windows that were nice because we could like push light from outside, and it had this big wall. So if you look at it closely, the whole wall of monitor that the characters are looking towards, this is all CG. So it was green screen, right? And we did that in post. Everything else in the room is practical. So, just lined up a bunch of tables, put a bunch of monitors on them. There's looping images with like Bondish sci-fi looking maps on it, right? They're like just videos that are playing.
Like just computers we had, tables we had, videos that we found on the internet.
Well, we made,
Okay, we
tables,
made
they were
some of
part
the,
of it.
okay.
Computer we brought, but it's not, they don't work, right? It's like a looping video on a monitor, right? What is in the monitor we made ourselves. We made the loops to have consistency and have like a look with that blue lights, coming pushing through. The server racks in the back, I was very, very happy with that. It was I wanted server racks in the back because that gives depth to the scene, and again, subconsciously it just puts you in a space of like, oh, okay, it's a control room, right? Like it sells the ID within a very short span of time. I mean, you have like maybe less than 10 seconds in that control room. And yet I'm sure that if you ask your audience after the fact, they'll explain what happened. They can give you a sense of who the characters are, what kind of space it is, right? So that's all little details in the background that you may not even register on the first watch, but that your brain does register. So that server rack, our director was like, yeah, we can get a server rack, but we would have to like go to a prop house in LA. It's going to cost a lot of money to rent it. Plus we got to send somebody a truck and whatever and bring it in and bring it back. So the big complex thing. And we didn't have enough in the budget. And she's awesome at finding some creative ways to make something work. She found the cage for the server rack on Facebook Marketplace for like $500 or something. No servers in there, right? Just a cage. And so she bought, and the guy could deliver to our set. So it was perfect. Like take out all the logistical thing that, are annoying. And then she put black foam board inside those cage, pierced holes in them, maybe like 100 holes. I don't know, a lot of holes. And puts little small LED lights in there controlled by a little controller. It blinks and it gives you the idea, and it's quick enough that nobody would ever know that it's not a real server rack. But it's actually even better because a real server rack will probably not blink enough that you would notice it.
That's a valid point.
It's
just
so
right,
now
it's just a moment in a passing 30-second commercial.
Exactly. But it's important because, again, I think and that's, to circle back to like paying attention to those details. Those details are what is going to place the scene and the commercial within a particular space and environment. And that tells the story almost not as much, but, that tells a big part of the story, right? To sell the ID. And that's what makes it, that's part of what makes it memorable for your audience.
Love it. There's also a small detail I just picked up on before we started to press record. The mug of the world's best deputy director. It looks like that's a world's best mug, and you just printed out deputy director on little strips of paper and put it on the mug. Is that right? Am I seeing that right?
You saw that right. Yeah. Again, little details, the characters, the way I envisioned that, that type of stuff was not necessarily part of the script, but the way the way I envisioned those two characters, the director of the control room, the lady, and then this guy, again, playing on tropes, right? Like the kind of stern lady that is at the helm and is not laughing. It's more like boom, boom, boom. This is what we're going to do. You've seen those characters in like spy movies and CIA movies, whatnot. So that's how I briefed the talents. That's the type of talent I looked for. And that's how, she's dressed in that type of character. Again, you're playing on those tropes. For the deputy director, because we're doing comedy and not something serious, I wanted to play on another trope of like, hey, you have this guy that is like a little subservient, doesn't really know, is really willing to do a great job, but he doesn't do it well, and that mug was kind of part of like selling. I mean, the actor himself, his demeanor sells it, his look sells it. The mug was part of it. The mug was actually not my personal ID. I feel bad if the person that had this ID hears this, maybe they don't know that I thanked them. It was from we did a casting, right? And when we do a casting, we do send us self tapes. So typically you have a brief. So I'll explain, hey, this is what we're looking for. This is the kind of town. Those are the lines, right? And they record themselves to doing the thing, and then we do a callback and talk to them, and then eventually we pick who's gonna be on camera. And so it was a talent that was auditioning for this role, not the one that we picked, another one that came up that did that on an audition. And I was like, this is brilliant because it really visually reinforced the character, right? In a way that's very subtle, but if you see it and it's fun. And if you don't see it, it doesn't do anything. And so when we were on set, it's like, hey, this other guy did this. I think it's great here. But yeah, again, low details that talks to your subconscious is what's important in a 30-second spot.
I think it's a great lesson for us already. Let's look at one more. Let's look at this spot from SmartAsset. This one's a little bit more technical, and I think you actually dug up someone's backyard to do this one.
Build the pool yourself. What could go wrong?
Some things are better left to a professional.
It dried so fast.
Like when it comes to finding financial advisors.
Mom!
So leave it to SmartAsset to find them for you. Take the free quiz at smartasset.com. Then you'll be matched with up to 3 vetted fiduciary financial advisors. To get started, take the Advisor Match Quiz now at smartasset.com.
Terrific.
All right, so it looks like we've got a homeowner who's maybe trying to put in his own backyard pool and things go terribly awry. Tell us about that spot.
Absolutely. So this one first as a bit of a special place in my heart because the little girl is my daughter.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and it was really fun to shoot with her. She's like literally the most professional kid I've ever worked with. Or
That's great.
She was awesome. She really was a trooper because it was really hot the day we shot. And so, and she was, because we have coverage, we shot an entire day with her standing in that place and saying mom over and over and over and over and over again, and she did amazing. The agency came to us with this idea of like this DIY backyard thing, and this one was definitely a logistically quite a big challenge, right? Because there's a hole in the ground and it needs to feel like the guy dug it himself, right? So originally we thought, okay, well, we're gonna approach pool builders, like actual pool builders, and our location manager, and ask them, hey, do you have a pool at that stage of construction, and over a weekend or something, can we use it to shoot, and then we'll pay you some money for that. Turned out to be complicated because pools come like, one, there's liability, two, it's not the right size, and the creative director from the agency had a very specific shape of a pool in mind. And again, within like half a second, you need to understand that it's a pool, but also that the guy dug it himself, and that's why he's stuck, right? Which is it means that you need to have a very specific shape, a very specific look to that wide shot, right? And so we were kind of struggling and finding how we could do that. And I was on a different shoot with my stylist, and I was chit-chatting, and she tells me, hey, me and my husband are building, we're making a pool in our backyard. And I'm like, no way. You now? No way.
Tell me more.
Well, tell me more. I have this project coming up that she was going to be the stylist for anyway. And hey, do you mind if we use your backyard since you're already going to make a hole in it? Can we just make a hole? And it turned out really, really great because, one, we had a location there, and she said yes. Two, we could now make the hole, because it was our backyard, we could make the hole exactly the way the creative director wanted. So, I was with them on the phone, and we drew exactly from that wide shot perspective. This is exactly the space it's going to take. This is where the guy is going to be, exactly the shape. Turns out her husband was used to be in construction, and he decided that he was going to dig it himself with a bobcat, not with a shovel, right? But he had a great time, it's like feel like a little kid just driving his bobcat and digging the pool. So everybody was happy at the end of the we paid them for that, but we probably saved money in comparison to what it would have cost to do it differently. So yeah, it was a great one. Fun one to do. Logistically it was challenging, but in a good way.
I think that through all of these there's the theme of the details. It's all in the details. Looking for those tropes, looking to create almost the stereotypical fever dream, right? Like, what are the things that we know the audience believes to be true, and how do we bring those elements into this environment where we have 30 seconds to cut through the clutter, where we want to be appealing, not interruptive. We want to be additive to the content viewing experience and create this lasting, memorable brand moment. Thierry, This has been a great conversation. If folks want to learn more about Ockham, they want to connect with you, they want to get in touch, how should they do that? Where should they go?
Email, feel free to put my email there, or just go on the website. There's a contact form. There's an email there as well. Yeah, just reach out. And I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I don't know, wherever,
We'll make all that easy to find.
You have the name. Yeah, Ockham San Diego Video Production. You'll find us very easily on Google.
It's Ockham.tv. We'll make sure to link to everything close by. We'll have your LinkedIn, we'll have your email, we'll have the website. You will be easy to find after this conversation. Thierry,
awesome.
Much for being here.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Tim.
Absolutely. And if you found this conversation to be helpful, please share with a colleague or a client. Start a conversation today. Until next time, we'll see you.